Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. We're here to tell you about Star Wars on ToV.
Do not make me bring up the holiday special for Star Wars.
And Major Midnight says, or should I say hello there? Oh, that's probably a good one to start with, too. Hello, everybody. Welcome to ToV Live. I'm Ryan,
Hello there.
Tales of Valhalla. And this is quite a unique... we could be going into some murky waters we already have in the backstage a bit. But yes, we're here tonight. We're going to be talking about Star Wars Heroscape. Maybe some Star Wars mixed with Heroscape. We'll see what we get into tonight.
Now see,
and
that
so,
would be awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then we're going to probably hopefully dive into that a little bit too as well. But I have with me tonight, we have a panel of volunteers ready to dive in. We got Sir Joe Crazy. We have Sir Joey Ranieri, aka the Lieutenant Dan. We have Josiah, aka Robescaper, and we have my buddy Shawn, who also plays Sergeant Drake Alexander, the voice for Tales of Valhalla, the Aftermath Chronicles as well. So, guys, tonight we have to go through the discussion of Star Wars because it is May the 4th. Or may the Force.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Or may the Schwartz be with us. Or however you wanna say it, put it. Let the jokes flow.
Ogre.
So yeah, guys, we're going to be talking about Star Wars tonight. This is not something we usually do, and there's a lot of love. There's a lot of probably pain associated with this IP. The pain. Although we're gonna try to focus
speaking
mostly.
Speaking of Spaceballs earlier, I was just going to bring out that they're bringing out a Spaceballs too. I can't wait to see that.
There's been rumors on that for a long. Is there anything certain? Like, is there like a date?
Let me look and see that.
Surprisingly,
from
Mel
my
Brooks
knowledge,
is still alive. You know,
I know
he's old and infirm, but he's still alive.
Let's see, Spaceballs.
But bless you, Mel Brooks, too. You know, just yeah, absolutely.
I'm hoping he actually had something to do with, with the actual penning of it, because at least if he has something to do with the writing, it'll be good.
If it's not called Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money, I don't want to have anything to do with it, to be perfectly honest.
It is. It's exactly what it's called. Spaceballs 2's The Search for More Money is a long-awaited sequel to the 87 film, with production expected to begin by the end of 2025. So they're looking for it by the end of this year to start filming.
If they riff and rip apart the entire sequel trilogy, then I'd be interested in it.
What this is saying is Josh Gad is set to star and co-write the film, which will be produced by Mel Brooks, celebrating the legacy of the original movie while spoofing more recent Star Wars content.
Okay. I might be interested.
I would love to see that.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to the chat.
Spoofing needs to come back.
Yeah.
They ought to have reached out towards Seth MacFarlane for this, because that could have been
comedy.
Good.
We need some comedy. We need some good comedy, you know.
Comedy.
Really,
have you guys ever watched Blue Harvest or something Dark Side?
Yes. That was very good.
I think it was awesome at how he did it. I mean, he took like a 2 to 3 hour movie and boiled it down to 40 minutes, and he didn't miss a thing, plus added material. God, that's genius. I think he should have helped with Spaceballs too. Just saying.
But
a little biased.
I do want to say
time will tell.
Hello, Major Midnight there in the chat, Premium Scape in the chat, and Mellowman Studios is there in the chat as well.
What's going on, guys?
So what are we gonna do tonight? Well, we're gonna talk first about some of the things that we love, possibly hate about Star Wars. We're just gonna just give some general discussion starting out, and that could take all night, but we'll try to be as tactful as possible. And then we're going to be talking about heroes of Star Wars, because on Heroscapers.com, and it's also tied into Heroscape.org, there is actually some custom fan-made Star Wars Heroscape stuff that we might look at a few of those cards that we have selected tonight as well. And Renegade Star Wars, just for the end of it, we're just discussing the possibility of Renegade Star Wars, and believe it or not, I actually asked someone in Renegade if they have any comment on that particular thing. The answer may shock you, or it may not surprise you at all. So stay tuned for that, if I remember to talk about it. Let's get started with this. Okay, so Star Wars. How about we just go through the panel here, give you guys a few minutes just to for Al to give your own take on Star Wars as an IP, as it being a past history, because I'm sure, like myself, it's affected our lives in many ways. So, Joe Crazy, why don't you start first, sir, with Star Wars? What is your take on it, sir?
So Star Wars, growing up, I watched all of the original movies many times, fell in love with the series, and then the prequels came out, and I was like, these are awesome. But then as I grew up and over time, I was like, maybe they're not as great as I thought they were. All the action set pieces, seeing the new characters and the stormtroopers, the clone troopers, all the bounty hunters, like that stuff is so cool. And then the revival of the sequel trilogy, we were like very excited, and then it just started to die off for me. I'll watch the shows when I can, except for Andor. For some reason, Andor does not excite me at all, even though I've heard that's the best one to watch. Eventually, it's on my list to watch. I'll get to it. But I think still for me, it's the original series. Original movies are great. Trilogy. I love all of that. So I guess Darth Vader is like the pinnacle for me. So anytime seeing him on screen is great.
All right, thank you, Joe. And the other Joe, Joey Ranieri, give your take, sir.
Well, I feel like I'm a little more, I would say, easygoing when it comes to the films and the shows and stuff. I try to give creators the benefit of the doubt and don't look too far into the politics and all that nonsense, because when I actually didn't start liking Star Wars until episode 3. I had seen 4, 5, and 6, didn't care in high school. 1 came out, 2 came out, they just flew under my radar. It wasn't until my friends were all freaking out about episode 3 and the big fight scene on Mustafar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, so they're the big fight scene and all that, which it's a fantastic scene, but I think I can appreciate the films. I just watch the films because I can't be bothered to watch the shows. There's just too much content. And I stick with the movies, and I stick with film in general because I feel like they're little takeaways of a decent story, like one big story. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with all 9 films. I think 8 is the weakest one. That's a whole conversation we can have. And man, there's just so many cool characters. Oh, it's the characters, it's the people, the powers, the lore. There's so much to take in. But at the end of the day, it's Yoda.
Yoda man.
Yoda's the man. I have such a love for old wise men.
Sure.
Like like teachers, not old wise.
I was gonna say old wise men. I'm here.
Oh, we'll talk.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Joey, for that take. Yeah, I would agree. One thing you got to appreciate is the people. Regardless on who's in charge and who's telling the story, you have people. It's many hands that get involved in any production, and it takes a huge amount of effort, even to make. And I'm not talking about Star Wars in particular, but even to make crap, even to make visual crap out there, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of love or not to craft and create something out there. It's a ton of work, so I can appreciate that sentiment for sure. Josiah, what's your take, sir?
So, imagine you're 8 years old, in bed with a fever, and your dad goes to the library and pops in a VHS with a golden spine and puts in Star Wars Episode 6, which is a great point to start the Star Wars series because there's so much mystery. There's no build-up. You just go into this random scene and get to enjoy it. So from that moment forward, I've been hooked. I would say I'm probably in a little bit too deep. I've taken science fiction film classes and written 10-page papers on Star Wars and its effects on us. I've watched all of Star Wars media except for the last 4 episodes of The Acolyte. That includes the holiday special, which I own on DVD.
Dear God, I feel sorry for you.
I watched
Sorry.
the Ewok shows. I've watched the animated Heroscape 2003 specials. I'm in deep. So
Did you watch the Clone Wars movie?
I've watched the Clone Wars movies. I watched the entirety of the Clone Wars series. I've watched all the Disney Plus shows except for the Acolyte, which is telling if I can't get through it. Yeah, no, I'm in pretty deep. I love Star Wars, but I'm also self-aware in my love for Star Wars that I come from it from a love of film and cinematography and design. So I can both love and hate Star Wars at the same time simultaneously. I'm the most critical and the most loving, I think, of the franchise, as a fan ought to be.
For sure. All right. Thank you, Josiah. And Shawn, if you dare.
I have to agree and disagree with Josiah because I'm coming from the same place on the platform of cinematography. I got 7 months and then I get my bachelor's degree. As you guys can tell, I'm pretty opinionated, but I've been all over the place with Star Wars. My original order I love to hear or watch was, let's see, that'd be, so 1, 2, and 3 came later, so I'm going to say 4, 5, 6. So the order I really appreciated initially was 6, 4, then 5, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And then 1, 2, and 3 came out. And 1, I kind of felt at first was the absolute worst. It couldn't get, any worse than that. Just mainly because of Jar Jar Binks, because it's like that is somewhat of a serious show, and it's kind of like, how can you take that serious? I feel that there was an opportunity they missed. They could have made Jar Jar more of like a dark Sith, because I've heard that conspiracy, or not conspiracy, but the theory that was behind it. Yeah, I loved it. I kind of ate it up. I'm like, that actually makes sense. You can go somewhere with this, and it would play off perfectly with that goofiness that he had. But after watching, I got to number 3, and I'm like, okay, if I could just see, Anakin turn. I don't need to watch anymore. My life, as far as Star Wars is concerned, is fulfilled. And after I saw that, that is actually what made like the best Star Wars of all of them. I will say with 7, 8, and 9, and I know we've discussed this earlier, 9's not a real Star Wars. That's not to be spoken of. I get it. I feel the same way. But there's one thing that Disney did do, I feel, and we were talking about that, and I kept dissing Disney, and I am not a Disney fan at all. They did rectify the Stormtrooper issue. Like as in 4, 5, and 6, how they couldn't hit a fly or a bull in the ass with a banjo if they tried. 7, 8, and 9, when they introduced Finn, those guys look like some Marines coming out, ready for action. And that's the best way I could really describe it. They got to business. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they didn't miss. Had 4, 5, and 6 only presented the Stormtroopers on that level, that would have sold it a hell of a lot better to me. But as far as it goes, I am a huge fan of the Star Wars. I forget what they call it. We were talking about it a little earlier. But the little mini series that they had where they started out always like a news snippet, like World War II, I loved it. I ate that up. I absolutely loved it. I'm probably the oldest guy here on the panel. I'm 48. I can actually remember as a kid, my uncles, my grandfather, They used to watch the old World War II videos and all of that.
Mhm.
And I remember some of those snippets that were in, the World War II news update,
Yeah.
the European war front. I remember
They
actually
took
watching
dogfights
that.
from World War II and put it with the
Yeah,
X-wing fighting stuff. Yep, yep, yep.
exactly. But it's like they took that concept of the news, everything that's taken place, and how the army's marching on forward to the enemy front. We're bringing the fight to them. It kind of brought that same spirit with, and I'm like, God, I love that. I miss that with the old timers. The greatest generation.
Hmm.
It's a shame they all died off so fast, and praise God we got a couple of them around, but not many at all. That's my 2 cents anyway.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Shawn. I think one of the great things about Star Wars, and when I mean Star Wars, I'm not saying A New Hope. It was originally just called Star Wars. That first initial film was the beginning of the narrative of the hero's journey. And that original trilogy really defined what a hero's journey can be. And it could be male or female, it doesn't matter. It gave a good, clear example, and it had that narrative flair for people to look up to. And this is the type of thing, when it comes to pop culture or culture in general, you need stories, you need compelling stories to be told, whether it's written or now visual, because now we have this wonderful thing called cinema that's been developed in the last 100+ years. And it's a way to inspire people. It's a way to drive an inspiring narrative to motivate a person to live the best they can possibly live. And those are the stories that inspire me. So, and I see Justin in the chat, they're saying, I've seen the original trilogy on VHS and loved My Power of the Force action figures, but was 5 when Phantom Menace was released and thought it was the greatest piece of cinema ever released.
Phantom Menace was released on my birthday. Like
I
Oh,
was
wow.
I was like 17, I believe, when Phantom Menace was released. I stayed in line to get advance tickets for episode 1 for midnight opening, and I went to midnight showings for episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 when they came out, because I was that devoted of a Star Wars fan. I discovered the original trilogy back early 90s, when they still had copies of the original VHS tapes of the original Star Wars, not the remaster stuff. It was kind of cool when Lucas did remaster everything. I still have the VHS tape copies of the remastered stuff with the Darth Vader mask.
All the CGI.
The CGI, but it was VHS. When they still sold VHS tapes. You had to buy those packs. But
I love the original music that they had in the original series, where it was like not big band, but big band.
Yeah, my first take though was going to the library. Thank you, Mom, and being able to pick up these movies. And I started, I remember watching Empire. I remember watching snippets of Empire when I was really young, but I didn't connect with it. I was just too young for that type of narrative. But at this time, we started with Star Wars, and just in quotations, A New Hope, and watched that, and I was absolutely floored, just watching this masterful piece of cinema. And so it's like, oh, there's another one? Okay, Empire. Mind blown. Return of the Jedi, which personally, yes, Empire is awesome. I mean, as far as storytelling is concerned, it's one of the best Star Wars movies ever. But I've always had a place in my heart for Return of the Jedi. Just like Lando Calrissian flying the Millennium Falcon, that whole Star Wars space battle, and then going in at Death Star and blowing it to hell, was just it's one of the reasons why I got the Super Star Wars on Super NES and beat all 3 games, which is, even with cheat codes, it's a really tough thing to do. But I
did anybody besides myself play the one for Atari back in the early 80s?
No.
Yeah, you played it? What did you think of that?
Josiah?
Yeah, it's I mean, all Atari games are a bit clunky. I mean, I played not on the Atari. I played the game online on an emulator, so it's probably not the same experience.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I loved
so
it because it
I'm a
kept trying to
poser.
build the Death Star. In the meanwhile, you're playing the
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon, and you got to blow everything up. It's really kind of a cool
Yep.
game. For back in the '80s, it was like revolutionary. But I'm sorry, I just had to ask that question. I'm like,
Sure. No, it's fine. And so the really fun thing was just to get just engrossed in this lore, in this universe. So of course I picked up books. I picked up books, and I think one of the first bit of books I read was Timothy Zahn, Heir to the Empire, and that whole Thrawn
Excellent
trilogy. If you're going to start anywhere with reading, and when Disney came out with their old new canon and started releasing books according to their version of the Star Wars universe, I picked up the first book that they got out, and it's like it was like written, and it had, the funny thing is, it had Wedge Antilles as a character, and I'm like, this isn't the Wedge Antilles I know. Reading like the X-Wing novels, original X-Wing novels and stuff. And so I never picked up another Disney Star Wars book ever again. I just stuck to Legends.
let me ask a question,
Yeah.
guys. I've never gotten into the books, the canon versus the Disney canon. What is the difference in that? Because I've heard so many people say they've
major
gave
difference.
basically a big finger to the fan, the fandom, the Star Wars culture. What exactly is the difference in this?
They took about like
over?
99% of the lore.
Really?
Pretty much
just
they
destroyed
dropped
it?
all the lore for sake of clarity. So it's called Legends books now because they just don't exist in canon. It's kind of a big thing, but also the Star Wars books were kind of the Wild West. There wasn't like a filtering system of how this relates to other canon. People were just making books. Like there was books set 2,000 years after the event of
or 2,000 years
episode
before
6. Or 2000. It gets kind of wild. Like if you go on like Wikipedia and look up some like the Yuzong Vong, you are going in deep into this weird,
which is a really
crazy
fun
place, which I love.
Jedi Order.
I miss.
It's.
You see, I see a ton of possibilities in the universes here, and what I mean by that is, well, E.T. obviously is connected over to Star Wars. And I've even seen the videos out there like What Culture as well as Film Theory. They were talking about there's a connection between Star Trek and Star Wars. And I'm like, oh my God, if they could actually collaborate and create something good. I mean, let's face it. Who wouldn't, go out and get something to the effect of merchandise on that? I mean...
Merchandise.
This is
merchandise.
Merchandise. May the Schwartz be with you. No, I'm just kind of curious on that one because it's like I would like to know. I think it could be awesome, but that little voice in the back of your head that just says, "Hey, what could go wrong?" Disney, hello.
Yeah, well. And
the biggest problem with Star Trek and Star Wars going together is that Star Trek is true science fiction and Star Wars is space opera. So they're just totally different genres.
Yeah, space opera for sure. Yep, absolutely. Which is not a bad thing, And you always had the separation of Trekkies and Star Wars fans. So I was more of a Star Wars fan. Although when you watch Wrath of Khan, not wanting to get into side tangent, but Wrath of Khan is excellent. Wrath of Khan is incredibly amazing.
Oh yeah,
I think that was the first one I ever watched.
Yeah. But
now see,
go ahead.
They could probably really do a good takeoff with E.T. And bring more E.T. into this if they could only just get rid of all the bullshit they're doing. Seriously.
Okay, that's your second swear word for the night, Shawn. No more for the
Sorry.
stream.
We got a jar going around.
Save for the backstage.
I'm sorry.
This is
I'm non-filtered tonight.
This is for families, or we try to say that, even though it's like the major audience is mostly like 30 to 40 year olds. But I digress. Justin is saying in the chat, best Disney Star Wars book is Claudia Gray's Bloodline about Leia's role in the New Republic. Was really excited for the High Republic novels, only to be extremely disappointed. Yeah, I just burn me once. I'm done. I'm not going to do second or three times. I'm sorry. I don't have the amount of time to read books.
This is quarter. Another quarter.
This is just in case.
This is just in case. I might actually have some more.
Why are you putting in a toilet paper roll?
Yeah, Melman, watch your profanity. Yeah. I gave the profanity warning, and yes, that's what we have the backstage for. But
that's my crappy language.
One thing I want to say with the books, though, I haven't read all of the original Legends books, but I'll tell you some big differences between like what Disney canon and Star Wars Legends books is. Han and Leia get married. Luke gets married. They have kids. Some of their kids have kids. And you have some bad guys that will make your toes curl up in like later lore. Like I can say one word. Canon. Legends canon. Okay. Abeloth. That's all I have to say. And that is like one of the like best drawn up villains ever. It's basically the dark side of the Force personified in a. Oh my goodness! It's something. Oh my goodness!
I got a question. Books. When you really think about it, what if Stephen King were to actually write something for Legends?
No. Well, first off, there's no other Legends canon books that can be made because Disney controls the IP. So, I mean, you have Timothy Zahn that still writes stuff, but even him backstage is reported to have said that Disney has totally destroyed the characters that I've created. So
absolutely,
yeah, people aren't happy with that.
They brought Thrawn back in the animated Rebel show, which I largely enjoy, but Thrawn is
Rebels is good. Don't get me wrong. Just say Rebels is really good. I enjoyed it. But
I cry watching Rebels, but Thrawn is about 10% of a villain as he is in the
it's not the same Thrawn, and especially like in Ahsoka, it's not that's not Grand Admiral Thrawn, and it's like his own canon.
I'm over here laughing because
the canon and the Legends is not the same as in Disney Legends when it comes to Thrawn. Thrawn would not have been taken out by a young Jedi in that way in Rebels. I'm sorry, it's a great it's great how they did it.
It's one of the most compact Star Wars stories Disney has ever made.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing it, but
I love it. The animation is kind of garbage, and it's kind of like a kid's show, like 20% of the time.
But it gets real near the end.
It hits hard.
It gets real near the end.
It does.
For sure. No,
I was laughing because you're like, I cried during like Thrawn, and I was like, you cried during that? I cried during the holiday special.
No. The book series that I cried at is the X-Wing series, where Wedge Antilles and Rogue Squadron. The original canon, that X-Wing series is so darn good, especially when they get into Wraith Squadron. There are scenes in there that I literally cried reading through because you get so connected with the characters that there's no mention of them in the films. There's no mention of them in the original films at all, but it's just so well written and so nicely done. Zeb is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. Agreed, Justin. Very, very much agreed.
Did they ever do a little bit of a follow-up story between Luke and his friend that I want to say it's Dax, but Dax died in
Dak,
The Empire Strikes Back. I'm talking about the guy who
Wedge
also
Antilles?
came off Tatooine.
Talking about Wedge Antilles. Oh, you mean Biggs?
Biggs, Luke was supposed to go off to the academy with this guy. I can't think of his name.
Biggs Darklighter.
That is Biggs.
Biggs died.
Did they actually create a story on that?
Biggs died in the first Death Star attempt, destroying. Because Biggs was with Luke in the Death Star trench. Now Biggs had a brother who does join Rogue Squadron in the X-Wing series books and has his own little story arc. So his name
is Littles.
So
Little isn't Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is so much original Star Wars canon, and if because I know some people out there might think, okay, because I know the general feel of when it comes to Star Wars, it's it's either a like extremely negative and just like defeat, or B, it's just like I'm not interested anymore. You know, on the purely negative side of things. Um, or
Yeah.
it's like, you know, because it's like you have the sequel trilogy come out, and like the rewatchability, it just ain't there. I have not yet like even purchased a DVD, and I have like some of them free on streaming. Some of the sequel trilogy stuff free on streaming, or some of the sequel movies on streaming. The only ones I've rewatched is Rogue One. That's it. And if I would rewatch any of the others, it's just like I'm bored. You know, it's not fun. And even like say when it comes to Andor, very nicely done, but where's the fun of Star Wars? You know, it's
a bit brutalistic.
It is. And don't get me wrong, it shows how evil the Empire can be. But it just doesn't have that same sense of fun that, you know, kids could cling to. That you know,
The whimsy.
This is what everyone's been complaining about, though. Episode 1, that was all whimsy.
Mm-hmm.
That was whimsy. That was all fun.
The Phantom Menace?
Everyone complains about it. Yeah.
I really don't have a
about it.
huge problem with Phantom Menace. I love the pod racing.
People hate on people zero in on Jar Jar Binks too much, but the Phantom Menace is the most mature of the Star Wars movies. You have to literally understand how a galactic economy works and the intense plan Palpatine is orchestrating. It's there's so many levels to Phantom Menace. I don't think it's good, but there's like at its core there is. I appreciate Phantom Menace what it's trying to do, because up until the Phantom Menace, you know, we've had singular note planets, we've had ice planet, desert planet. Like the Phantom Menace gives us a planet that has multiple ecosystems with vibrant, diverse cultures interacting amidst a global escalating Cold War. Like it's a very mature movie, but I think they felt that was too mature, so they threw in maybe over. It has Hunchback of Notre Dame syndrome, is what I call it. You know, Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney movie, is a very serious, poignant movie, but then you have these goofy gargoyles trying to distract the whole movie the whole time.
But that's where the argument comes from.
Sean,
Ryan. You want whimsy and you want that.
Mm-hmm.
You want whimsy or you want serious. You're going to complain about both. You can't have it in the middle. Because when you have it in the middle, you have 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
Well, they could have done better, is what I'm saying, is had they just removed Jar Jar Binks or changed the character instead of trying to be funny.
There's no levity in that movie then.
Well, I mean, they could have made it to where, you know, he wasn't such a klutz. He wasn't trying to draw all the attention to himself, but made it more where he's just a serious but background character and pull him out of the spotlight. And, you know, he was a Gunga that needs to go underwater, take him to, you know, the city. Okay, I get that. They could have made it to where he was just like on a mission, not being exiled, but just on a mission because he had to go somewhere. You know, I mean, they could have done a lot of things differently with that.
He's a kid. You see him mature in age throughout the entire prequels.
Mm-hmm.
Not Anakin. I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about Jar Jar.
No, he is talking about Jar Jar.
He was a kid.
If you look at him as a child or a kid or even a preteen, he's acting just like how kids act. And then at episode 2, episode 3, he has become a well-respected person amongst the Senate. He has grown. You see a story arc there. He's a much better character than people give him credit for, just because everyone decided to complain about him when we first saw it.
I misunderstood them because I always assumed he was exiled and told never come back. And, you know, I mean, that would me being thinking here that he's a grown individual. I'd like to use the word man. I didn't think of him as a child. I thought of him as just like a totally retarded adult.
He's not saying that he is a child. He acts like one.
The Gungans, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of like, you know, if somebody who's mature and acting that type of way, something mentally wrong with you.
And if you look, that's the polar opposite of Anakin in the first film. because he is a
Yeah.
child, but he doesn't act like a child.
True. In that
Yeah.
regard, I agree. And Anakin, I thought, was pretty well played, and a lot of people goof on him. I'm like, yeah, no, not really. He was decent with his acting. You know, I mean, he
Yeah.
played the part as
Yippee!
I expected a kid to act.
Although
That's
I
on the
wish,
director,
I,
though.
I wish Anakin could have had just a little bit of darkness in him, just something to show him, like, okay, there's that little bit of darkness that he's choosing to like ignore or kind of half embrace, to just give that sense that, okay, this is going to be Vader someday. Because in the book, and again, I'm going back to books, the Phantom Menace book, there are scenes of Anakin wrestling with the dark side of the Force. There are scenes. They're not in the film. They're not in the film, which would have made his character.
If you watch the deleted scenes of the Phantom Menace, there's a whole different movie there. Like Anakin beats up a small kid because he's like teasing him and his pod racer. Like he goes like just puts him on the ground and is like piling into him.
Really?
Like it's intense. And Jar Jar is like almost dies by going off. Like there's like a whole bunch of like side adventures in the deleted scenes. Like
Never
it's a
thought to
whole
look at
new.
those.
You know
Yeah,
what
like
I would
emotional
really like
beats
to
were cut
see
out.
is somebody go back and edit all those deleted scenes into the movie.
Or
And
they
then-
could just make a show that goes in between Phantom Menace and Clone Wars.
Yeah, depending on the amount of material they have, yeah, but I'd just like to see the deleted scenes within the actual movie where it would make more sense. That would actually help and probably move a lot of people past, you know, the whole Jar Jar Binks, because it's like, for me personally, he just detracted from the whole Dagon show.
Who tried to go like as fast as you can in Star Wars Pod Racer or Star Wars Racer on I think it was N64. I think it was N64,
Yeah,
right?
I remember that.
Right. You try to go as fast as you go, and you end up breaking the miles per hour gauge because it couldn't go any higher, and then you explode. You explode just moving on the track. I love that game. Hi, but yeah, there are. I'd say. I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons. There's a lot of opinions, and there always will be. But I'll say this when it comes to the overall goodwill we have for this story. It was centered on, like we said, a space opera that, you know, had the tension, but it was also fun. It was a whimsical way. It was escapist entertainment to inspire people, but as well as just take you out of the drill of your life and be like, okay, we're gonna have some fun here, you know, going through this universe. And anytime, and it's the cool thing is, my son just started experiencing this not but a few months ago. He watched the first Star Wars. Of course, it's the not the original version. It's, you know, it's whatever's on streaming, but he was so invested throughout the whole time, even though you would say that, you know, A New Hope isn't exactly, the pacing can slow in certain areas,
You started him at 4?
especially for a 6-year-old.
You started him on 4?
Yeah, started him on
You
4.
started him with episode 4?
Yeah, of course. The original
As you
trilogy, the original trilogy.
Oh yeah,
Must
start him out right.
Must start. And I haven't even done Empire yet because I don't think he's ready for that yet. But he was engaged the whole time, and so now he understands what these characters are about. And whenever he asks for it, we'll probably watch through it again. And then eventually, you know, a couple years down the road, buddy, guess what? This continues. And then he'd be like, "Oh, I want to see more." And then we'll get on this. And before we move on to the next segment we're going to talk about, I do want to say one other thing too. You know, a lot of people experienced like the pivotal moment in Empire Strikes Back. You know, back in, was it late 70s or was it when did Empire get first released?
82.
It was 82. Okay.
82, I believe.
Okay. So they got that pivotal moment near the end of the film, and anyone who's watched it knows it. And so obviously I was born in 82. I did not, get to experience that that type of realization, but I was able to experience it. Experience watching someone's mind being blown, because I'd never seen it with my wife when I was dating her. Because of course I'm a Star Wars nerd. She was more of like a goth vampire nerd, but I'm just like, love, if you haven't seen Star Wars, like the original trilogy, we're gonna watch through this. So this was like 2006 or something like that.
It was 1980, by the way.
Okay, 19. Oh, it was 1980. Okay,
My bad.
You could have experienced it.
No, I wasn't even born then. I wasn't even a thing of people's imagination because I was born in '82. So yeah, I totally missed
right.
that. So when we got to Empire Strikes Back, my wife knows the line. She knew the line, but she had no idea where it came from. So when we got to that scene, and Vader and Luke, are having that discussion on the ledge, as any father and son would, who love each other very much. I stopped looking at the screen and I looked at my wife, because I'm like, this expression I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And no, I am your father. And she just like, it's just the shock, surprise. I'm just like,
doing that.
It was, that's what Star Wars is about, guys. That just showing that opera, that visual, like, inspiration story that nearly anybody can relate to and just be invested in. It's just, it's incredible, amazing. That's what Star Wars is about, guys. All right.
Ooh.
So
I had a quick thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just thought about this. You know what could really be an interesting story in Star Wars? What if they introduced the Q to Darth Vader?
What? From like Star Trek?
I mean, the Q.
The Q continuum?
Yeah, from Star Trek. It'd be like a crossover. You bring in the Q.
No.
Or
No ideas,
the Borg.
Sean. No ideas. No more ideas.
Oh man, that would be a good. I think
we're not doing any Star Trek Star Wars crossover. You're gonna start like an uprising of so many fans are gonna like start pitchforks and tar and
guys. You
and
can
stuff.
send me the hate mail by all means. I can handle that.
But we're gonna actually get into here another part. We're gonna be looking at, because what does this has to do with Heroscape? I'm sure some of you are asking that probably. So we're gonna get let's see here. All right, let me catch up with comments real quick. Justin's saying they re-released Pod Racer on Nintendo Switch and I love it. Yeah, I put in a lot of time in that game back in the day. Justin also says, I'm a big fan of flashback order of Star Wars. Star Wars 1977, Empire Strikes Back, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, then conclude with Return of the Jedi. Yeah. I mean, no matter
I
what
think
order
still
you
the
get,
best way to watch it is in a movie theater, or not a movie theater, in a drive-in theater. There's a whole new element of magic that goes to it. Well, for me, it's more nostalgia, but
I think you're not
I can
wrong.
remember that.
I think you're not wrong. All right, here I'm going to share.
A lot of nostalgia that goes to that.
I'm going to share a screen here if I can find it. Give me a moment.
The pure magic of hiding 20 people in your vehicle and just saying, "Hey, we got only 3 in here."
Okay. Looking for this.
You guys,
okay.
You'd miss it if you know.
All right. All right. So let's see what Star Wars has to do with Heroscape, shall we? Okay. No, I'm not go to that yet. And we need to get where's the thing? Okay. So on Heroscapers.com, there should be a link in the description below for this. Although you have to do a little bit of navigation on Heroscapers.com because not all threads lead to places for this one. Even though I noticed they still are active in chatting, although they haven't released any waves recently. But Heroes of Star Wars Scape, and even on Heroscape.org, if you scroll down, they do have that option there to look up the miniatures, which we will do in a moment. But yeah, Heroes of Star Wars Scape, they have rule books, they have like little pieces of lore, and they have characters, units, and quite a bit of their official custom Star Wars stuff. Hey Erica, how you doing there in the chat? Good to see you. Good to see you. So I have now two people from good old Specs days, Joey and Erica here. Sweet. But what we'll do, like I said, do your best to investigate it. Look up these guys, and a quick shout out to let's see here. Wait a second. I can get to Star Wars Escape. I just want to shout out some of the guys who's created this. Here, let me find the right. If I can find the right.
I mean,
name.
this is actually really a smart
While you're
idea.
looking for that,
Yeah, go ahead.
it's really the powers are, I think, a really well combination of thematic and playable.
Yeah.
Like I think the C3G, like the superhero stuff, gets a little bit too thematic, almost to the point where it's not fully playable. And then the VC stuff is fully playable, but it's not always thematic. You know, sometimes there's just abilities that are put onto things. But this is like the perfect middle
It's fun.
balance right here. Like there's some really fun units, and you know what they're referencing, you know what they're talking about. And the powers, honestly, a lot of these powers I would love to see added to official units. You know, back in the day, I was really into this. I had all the Star Wars minis that, fortunately, I had to sell because I kind of came on hard times. I had like all the old Wizard of the Coast Star Wars minis, but I had to sell them. They were the first line of defense before the Heroscape had to go. So I played with them a lot, and they're really fun units.
Could you still 3D print those, or are they?
Yeah,
no?
actually, it's easier nowadays with you know, there's Legion, there's Shatterpoint, and 3D printing. That's kind of why I was sold them. There was other avenues for better Star Wars figures. I just haven't spent the time, but it's options there. I was actually trying to get some Legion miniatures and paint them up today, but I just I got sidelined. But yeah, it's a good time to be into Star Wars miniatures right now.
For sure.
Awesome.
And yeah, just shout out to Heroes of Star Wars Scape, Jedi Council, Mac 122, Porkins, White Knight, and the rest of these wonderful Heroscapers who have developed this custom Star Wars Scape stuff. It seems like a lot of fun. So I don't know what I know. Joe Crazy and Josiah might have picked a couple of units, and you guys are free to tell me what those are in a minute. But I just want to here. I'm gonna just roll out. Where is it?
But there's no Gonk droid.
Well,
There is a
Yeah, no,
wait,
no Gonk droids. Sorry.
wait.
Oh,
Wait.
Wait.
Actually, thank you to Major Midnight who made me a Gronk droid. So wait, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second because it's just reminding me of something. What did you unleash? I was lamenting on a stream like last week that I had no Gonk droid, and so Major Midnight made me one and put it on Discord. So what I'm going to do?
Oh, that's awesome.
I would just.
Now, Ryan, are you
fun
thinking
custom
of a
stats.
possibility reboot?
What are you talking about?
Actually doing a little bit of stop motion for this, like a new series.
Probably not. Probably not. I
That
do
would
not
actually
want
be
to touch
pretty
controlled
cool.
IPs.
Ooh.
So specifically controlled by
He does nothing.
Disney. Okay, so Gonk droid.
Oh yeah, I get what he's saying.
Gonk droid. So there's no image here, but
I see it. Yeah.
yeah. So your Gonk droid, Vidar, Solberg coming here. Agent, mindless medium 4, 1 life, 3 move, range 1, attack 0, defense 0, 15 points. Solborg movement bonus is one of the special abilities. All Solborg units. So this is one that can actually work better with Heroscape stuff, including Solborg. So Solborg figures who start their turn adjacent to a Gonk droid may move 3 additional spaces. Non-essential target. If Gonk droid is attacked with a normal attack from a figure who is not adjacent and at least one skull is rolled, roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 1 through 13, roll defense dice normally. If you roll a 14 or higher, ignore all damage that would be inflicted by the attack. Simple, effective, fun.
Is it effective?
I kind of like it. Well, for 15 points.
in the
yeah.
You are still talking to a Heroscape noob.
Right. And 0 defense
guilty.
dice too.
I'm on board
So-
with you. I'm about as great vanilla as you get.
I can't understand. I do understand these things. Though I can understand the basics and at least
Yeah.
the general, assumptions.
It's
but-
just a fun.
I don't even understand that.
It's a fun additional filler unit
completely
for
new.
your Solborg army. If you got 15 extra points, like in your army build, and you just want something to add, so your Solborgs have a little bit more movement. You know, for the start of the game, it's not a bad movement buffer. You know, it's pretty cool.
The Heroes of Star Wars Scape actually released a rule book, kind of like for their first big release back in the day, where it says that all droids and Solborgs, those words can be used interchangeably. The Solborgs are like the Death Walkers and stuff like that. So that's one rule to know when you play the game, is that droids and Solborgs are the same. Another is that they have some tags for powers like Force Sleep and Force Push that pretty much all Jedi have, that they can kind of use instead of normal movement or normal attack. So those are two things just to be aware of when you play.
He read
so
the
who
rulebook.
owns the rights to this?
What?
It's all fan made.
Yeah,
this is all fan based.
Yeah, this is just what we're going to be looking at is just fan made custom stuff.
See, I was actually thinking that this is something that somebody had the rights over. I was kind of thinking that'd be cool.
No, there's a lot of. I mean, the beauty of Heroscape is that
it's kind of like an open.
Yeah, you're basically pulling. It's a battle of all time, so you're basically bringing all forces to Valhalla to fight from all time and space and universes, basically. So you can grab anything from anywhere. I know we make this joke often, but you could put My Little Pony into Heroscape and you can make it work. It's just because that's the fun of Heroscape.
I would like to see My Little Pony versus the Sith Lord.
I would love, dude. That's what Heroscape is about. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean the big difference here
is. Oh, what were you saying, Joe?
I was just gonna say the big difference between Heroes of Star Wars Scape and of course Heroscape. It's kind of like how Marvel is. It's a little bit separate. Of course, chronologically, but also because the custom that Mage Knight had made, it was Vidar, but there are no Valkyrie generals in Heroes of Star Wars Scape. It is just their alliances, and if you're not familiar with Star Wars as much, but there are different ones like the Galactic Empire and the Rebels and Independence and these oh my god, I'm losing my mind. Where is it? The Separatists and the Galactic Republic.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
I like how they intricately use these
animation. That could actually be an interesting story just to mess around with. Being animation,
it would be the comedic aspect. It would be fun just to have Star Wars characters on Valhalla and then riff with other Heroscape characters. That would be a fun thing to do just on the satire end of it. Darth Vader.
I mean, they could eventually make units in Heroscape that are like Jedi-like.
Yeah.
That use some sort of magic and laser swords.
Yeah.
Or cybernetic implants.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And do something similar. Like everything else in Heroscape. It's sort of like this, but it's not.
Yeah, but I'm thinking just on the level of doing a show, that actually sounds like it'd be fun.
Oh, I mean, Heroscape in general, having a TV show would be fun. Mm-hmm. But which we all know already exists. But in the sense
there's a show.
But in the sense of taking literally anything and putting in, I mean, I make this comparison all the time, and you can cringe about it or not, but that's what to me.
Joey?
What?
You want to show
what
it
do
again?
you have?
Oh,
there it is. Exactly.
His character. Aww.
But at this point in time,
hit the wrong button. I gotta bring that back
Fortnite.
up. Continue, Joe. Continue talking.
Fortnite. Ooh.
Fortnite is what that is. There's literally everything in that.
Right.
In that game.
Fortnite. I mean, it's like I used to say it's so gay. I never played the game a day in my life. I didn't know anything about it.
For like the fourth time, they are doing
concept.
a whole season of just Star Wars. Like you can fly TIE fighters now in the game, but it's insane to think about that. There's at least a game or something out there with so many different properties, and that's how I feel what Heroscape is at this point. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know, but the fact that the vocabulary that Heroscape has for its rulings and the way you can essentially add in whatever face or character into the game and create powers with the vocabulary of rule sets. It really is endless. I've never seen a game that has such an interesting I'm gonna keep saying it, vocabulary to use to word specific powers. So
It's kind of like what we used to do with Palladium back when I was in high school, and that was another book game, like not a D&D, but it was a role-playing game. And man, we used to have fun because for us it was completely open-ended. We had a system we worked with. It was a free open world. We made anything we want to happen. I mean, in one episode that we were playing, we made a dragon come out and try to kill us. So basically we just killed the thing. And after that, we ended up receiving golden bracelets that gave you one wish each. So we wished for infinite wishes. And, not just for the one person, oh, hey, I want this also for, like another set for my friend over here, another set for my friend over here. And basically you became like a god. So we had to end that game. But yeah, it got crazy. Some of the stuff we did was so stupid, but so fun.
absolutely.
Well, how about we look at some of these cards real quick? Okay, they got Darth Vader. They actually got 2 versions of Darth Vader. And
Yeah, I don't understand the difference between what is ESB.
Empire Strikes Back. That's
Empire
one thing
Strikes
I liked about the Haas
Wait.
cards is that
That
it's
was-
hard to encapsulate all of Darth Vader on one card.
Yeah,
He has so many powers, so many abilities. You don't want to miss them. So they have sometimes they have 2 versions of a character that already exists.
Yep.
Kind of highlight a different aspect of them. Like one version of Darth Vader is kind of like the front
You
line.
got synergies.
He just is going to town on rebels type of deal. And the other one's we're choking and commanding presence type of deal.
I
So
love
they
the
both kind of
Force
give
choke.
different feelings that are both accurate.
A Force choke. And
I'm
intimidating
not
presence
saying a
is fun.
thing, Ryan. I'm just being quiet.
I like No, okay. I'm not even gonna go there. My goodness, Shawn, I'm gonna kick you out.
I didn't say a thing.
Sure, you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. Darth Vader's fun, and I'll say one more. Jabba the Hutt. The Jabba the
Jabba
Hutt
Hutt's really
synergies with the bounty hunters, I think, is really cool. That would be really fun to pick up and play.
But see, I'm really wondering what would his capabilities be other than lead. I mean, sure, you could probably get some goons to come in and move on something, and maybe he might be able to motivate, those guys, but I don't see much effectiveness because, I mean, really, he's
doesn't.
not
That's
an
what-
attack guy.
That's why I like Heroes of Star Wars Scape so much. There's a lot of units that are just support. He's there. He has 1 or 2 attack. He's very low attack, but he can pretty much bounty hunters, if they kill people on the board, he gives them extra boost. He gives them glyphs or power ups. Essentially,
Gotcha.
that boosts up their character. So he's
that's-
just there. He's a lot of points, but his bounty hunter army is killing everything.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I was kind of getting at. That would make sense because it would be pointless to have him there as a slug running around trying to kill people because he's just big and slow.
Yeah, and
One of my favorite units is
Yeah, go ahead.
C-3PO. He doesn't
Yes.
fight at all, but he's a support unit in an army, and he's
Here,
just
hold
is
on.
a fun little guy.
Where is there? C-3PO, real quick. Yeah, he's got 6 million forms of communication ability, word doomed ability, insignificant ability, wait, where are you going ability. That's fun. Yep.
But he has 0 attack.
0
and
attack,
1 defense.
1
So
defense.
he's easy to kill if you really want to.
Yeah, just
But I'd
not much
actually
support.
say a good power for him is probably with communication to, let's say, have the ability to turn people's droids on them.
Well, his 6 million forms of communication power is add 2 to your initiative roll for each species in your army, up to a maximum of plus 10 for 6 million forms of communication.
So it's a nice buff.
So that would be a good motivator
Sure.
to motivate your troops.
Well, it's just getting you initiative. So when you build your army, you're building your army to have all different types of species in him. It's not, for example, if we had to go build one, you can have Tusken snipers, you can have an IG-88,
Lots
you
of
can
nice common
have
squads in here.
Droids.
Yeah. You're gonna have to have R2D2 because that is, their pairing.
Yeah.
His weight. Where are you going? Obviously, a famous line. Anytime you move R2D2, you may move C3PO up to 4 spaces.
Yeah.
So they're walking up as a pair.
Yeah. Synergized
But if
together.
they're support units, why would you want to move them anywhere unless they're unless you're putting them into cover somewhere?
What this is reminding me of is, have you guys ever played Magic the Gathering, like the original one out of the 90s?
No.
Okay. Well, they used to have like zombies, which were useless and harmless, really, until you got a zombie commander like in there. And what would happen was he would effectively take a one attack type, zombie. And if you had, let's say, 10 or 20 of them in your hand, then you would have literally each one of these zombies being effectively like a 20 damage, like 20 attack type of scenario, and you got like 20 of them. That's a tsunami coming against you.
Sure.
But yeah, that's what this is kind of reminding me of, pairing C and C3PO and R2D2 together. You're increasing not just initiative, but
Synergies are important in Heroscape, especially with
Sarlacc
fellow units.
tentacles.
Yeah.
Say again?
I was gonna bring up the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can look that up.
You actually have a Sarlacc? Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's what Sarlacc is.
I put together 2 different armies. One was a full army with 800 points, and then I found the Sarlacc pit and its tentacles, and I essentially put together a 360-point army of that's just the Sarlacc pit and 6 tentacles. And
Good
it's a
night.
full 3D printed model that you can get off of Thingiverse, which Art I don't remember Arthur Schlarch. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that. Has created himself. He's a very up and coming or has been in the community for a long time making 3D prints. So he actually has one of the Sarlacc pit.
Nice.
That you can download for free and print. That has it's a full 7 hex tile with engravings of what looks like the Sarlacc pit in it.
You got a link? I want to see this.
Yeah. I'll copy the Thingiverse and I'll put it in the in the
Chat
ToV
box.
live chat here.
And the Thattyverse.
You know what? I'll put it in the personal customs one here.
And Discord.
There's some
Yeah,
really
Discord.
fun synergies,
Yeah, go to
self-contained
Discord.
synergies,
Yeah, go
and Heroes of Star Wars Scape, like that allow for a lot of branches, and they have a lot of abilities that lets you like take units affiliation and turn into another one or change their like. There's the indoor version of C3PO, which is like kind of like the updated version, where he can turn all of his units into all his rebel units have the Ewok tag on them, and so then he gives benefits to all Ewoks. So he gives a lot of room for army building. Yeah, I wish they took like half of these powers and just made them into classic or standard Scape here.
This is kind of cool.
Yeah,
It's just the big pit, just poof right there.
I want to here, let me see if I can share that. I'll have to here, maybe I can hop over to this one here, possibly. Probably not. If you want to check it out, probably go to Discord and take a look at it here. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I can post you the page, Ryan, so you can just click on it.
Or if you want to share it, I can minimize this window and you can share your window if you want to do that. It might be easier
Sure.
instead of closing this down again.
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, well, Joe's getting that. Any other? Because we could talk about these units all day and night.
Even better, I could do this.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay,
The only
let's do that.
problem with this is they stopped at episode 1. They never made
There
it
you
to
go, look at
episode
that.
2 or 3 of Star Wars. So
Right.
we never got like the
There-
clone troopers. We never got like
There's
a lot
clone
of the
troopers.
No, not in Haas. They stopped before episode 2.
I literally made an army the other day with clone
Up a little
troopers.
bit.
Really? Am I just
Let me
crazy?
see.
I saw clone troopers on there.
Oh,
So
they
we
have
have
one
clone
squad
troopers, and then if I go, hold on, back here. If I go to,
I just must have missed them.
they're not rebels. They're not Galactic Empire. They are Galactic Here, clone troopers.
Yep, clone troopers right there.
Oh, they stopped at episode 2, not.
But they don't have anything from 3.
Yeah,
Because I was
just
looking
not
for like
that
an Anakin character, and I did
Well,
not
Grievous,
find
they're
one.
at that, yeah.
But so yeah, they haven't released any new waves for a few years. Although they're still. I've noticed that there are some recent chats even this year in some of their threads. So they're still active. I just they haven't been able to do much with it. But
Yeah, so
they're
hopefully,
there.
doing the stream, talking about it, getting people like, oh, this is the thing, this exists. Okay, cool. There are tons of Star Wars fans in the Heroscape community,
Yeah.
clearly, but there may be a lot of people that, the Heroscapers.com is huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So, I could understand missing out on something like this and not knowing it exists. So there are tons of characters. But just to go back on the Sarlacc pit, and for those maybe that have not seen the actual 3D printed model here, created by Art, this is pretty cool. It's a full 7 tile or hex. I think it's just a full hex.
It's pretty
maybe.
easy. All you gotta do is
I don't know if
paint
it's a
it.
tile or not. Well, yeah, all you have to do is print it out and paint it.
Nice.
Here's an example of what it looks like
nice.
painted.
Look at that. Oh, that's so cool.
The tentacles are really creepy. They look like
Yeah.
little worms.
Uh-huh.
But I still think that is so cool. Because
Kinda
even with
like-
the power, it's kind of like a hive.
Joe, you need to do this
It
for
almost
a
looks
Heroscape
like-
adventure.
Heroscape meets
I need this for
hentai.
adventures, yes. This would be such a fun, because especially with the Heroscape 7, the 24 sand tile, and I want to make a desert
sand
so
desert.
bad.
Yeah.
And including the Sarlacc pit and its tentacles in a full adventure, and just having that there as a something to deal with and not be like the main objective at all, because it is pretty easy to kill if you wanted to kill it.
How would this actually work?
So let's get to that. So the Sarlacc
I'm
pit.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm so sorry.
No.
No, you're fine, you're
It's a
fine.
great transition. That's how we do things here.
Translation.
Of course, it is the Sarlacc is an independent figure in the Star Wars saga. Also, side note here, I love that they're called holocrons, not cards. They're holocrons.
Which is cool.
And that there's a hologram of the silhouette for all the characters. These little details are fantastic. I love it. So it is a Sarlacc. It's a unique hero, a devourer, sentient, and it's a gigantic 2. They've actually added a new size. Fantastic.
Nice, gigantic.
And so it's 15 lives. It does not move. It does have a range of 1, so it can attack you. It has an attack of 4, defense of 5, so it's even better than the Hive. At a whopping 240 points, so very similar to Marvel Scape. The price values for these characters are much higher than what you would expect for Heroscape. And it has 3 powers. Tentacles emerge at the start of the game. You must place all Sarlacc tentacles in your army adjacent to the Sarlacc or onto any empty sand, swamp, or water space within 10 spaces of the Sarlacc. Any tentacles that you cannot place on the battlefield are immediately destroyed. After taking a turn with the Sarlacc, you may place one previously destroyed tentacle adjacent to Sarlacc or or on any empty sand, swamp, or water space within 10 spaces of the Sarlacc. So, no dive trolls. They just come back. And don't worry,
Sure.
spoiler alert,
Sure.
they're not that powerful. So, we'll get there. Tentacles. After revealing an order marker on this army card, instead of taking a turn with the Sarlacc, you may take a turn with up to 4 Sarlacc tentacles you control. Also, super awesome power.
That could be devastating.
It could be if you saw the tentacles, and we'll get there. One more power. Into the Maw. If a figure other than the Sarlacc tentacle is moved adjacent to Sarlacc with drag or with a special power, roll a 20-sided die on a 6 or higher for a squad figure or 16 or higher for a hero figure. Destroy that figure.
Hence my statement. That could be devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Bring in
So,
Correct
this is
with
the
that.
card with the actual figure. I think it's so fantastic. I love that. And then you could also print out this
Oh, it's
and
disgusting.
place it on top.
Nice.
That reminds me of Little Shop of Horrors.
So all you gotta
It
do
does.
is like print out a paper.
What?
If
You know, somebody
if you can't
today
have a 3D printer.
was asking, what is a custom that we haven't seen yet that you would like to see a custom? I should have said the RG2. I should have said RG2. Was not even thinking. I was like, oh, Slender Man. I've never seen that before. You know, like what we could do. But no, RG2.
Skateboard.
that would
we
be
are
awesome.
Looking at some Heroscape
Yeah.
customs. That's the word right now. Is Star Wars.
So
May
the
4th
Sarlacc
be with you.
tentacle is, of course, Sarlacc. It is a common hero tentacle, semi-sentient, medium 6, life of 1, with a move of 4, range of 1, attack of 1, and a defense of 4 at 20 points. So base stats right there, not looking great. What can it do? The Sarlacc appendage, a Sarlacc tentacle, does not start the game on the battlefield. It must be placed onto the battlefield by Sarlacc. If Sarlacc is destroyed, destroy all Sarlacc tentacles in your army. And yes, it is a Keystone army. So
That makes sense.
it does make sense because it is technically one entity.
But I'm thinking, if you have up to 4 tentacles coming after somebody, you're
Four
screwed.
attacks of 1 isn't great, but put them on height. 4 attacks of 2, that's looking a little bit more deadly.
Well, their main purpose is just to drag them to the mouth and feed it. Like
That is
That's-
correct.
Instant
Yes.
kill.
That's kind of what I'm
So-
getting at. I mean, if you're coming like at 4 tentacles to one person, arm, leg, into mouth we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it-
we have
that could
2
be
more powers
wicked.
here. We have wrap and drag. So wrap, for small or medium opponent figures engaged with a Sarlacc tentacle, may not move normally. So very similarly to the Vidar, Stolborgs, the Gladiatrons.
See, I don't like that wording though. May not move normally. Well, okay, what defines moving normally and what doesn't? Because I could make up any rule, or you could make up any rule that would limit the mobility of what normal is.
No, it's just a normal
Um,
The
move.
normal movement is defined as the move
Yeah.
you take during your turn,
Yep.
whereas special movement is like teleportation, or there's other ways to be moved around the battlefield without you yourself moving. So if someone like teleports you away, you're able to be taken away from it.
Yeah, but I mean, you see what I'm saying is just that just because there's no definition of what normal is,
It
it's
is
not
in the
spelled
rulebook.
out.
It
It
is
just
in- it
sounds
is in
like
the
it's
rulebook.
kind of like up in the
Yeah,
air.
it says it in the rulebook.
It says in the rulebook.
Okay.
It is in the rulebook.
All right, and then we have drag. Instead of attacking with the Sarlacc tentacle, you may use
You
drag.
put on a wig and lipstick.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
It just don't work with the nails because it
Jennifer
used to be fun.
Instead of attacking with the Sarlacc tentacle, you may use drag. Choose one opponent's figure that is adjacent to the Sarlacc tentacle. Now I can't think of it without. Thank you.
Wait,
Joseph, thank you.
wait. No, wait. Spaceballs reference
I
here.
could make it
I'm gonna say
worse.
Spaceball. I'm the bearded lady. That's who. Who are you? One of the freaks? Okay, move on.
I could make it worse. I mean, it could be singing "Hey Big Spender."
So yeah.
That's creepy. That's
So
a
we're
whole new level
choosing
of creepy.
one opponent's figure that is adjacent to the Sarlacc tentacle. If the chosen figure is a smaller medium small or medium, move this Sarlacc tentacle up to 4 spaces. And move the chosen figure up to 4 spaces. If the chosen figure is a large or huge, move the Sarlacc tentacle up to 2 spaces, and move the chosen figure up to 2 spaces. Figures must end their movement adjacent to the Sarlacc tentacle. Figures moved by drag must be moved closer to Sarlacc or must remain engaged with Sarlacc. Sarlacc tentacles moving with drag and figures moved by drag do not take leaving engagement attacks. Figures may only be dragged once per order marker.
Now, see, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go in and drag 5 people to a mouth. You can only take out 1 at a time. That limits the attack capabilities, but it makes more sense to me.
Yeah. But super interesting enough, between both the Sarlacc tentacle and Sarlacc, there is no D20 being used here. You're guaranteed to do these things.
No, Kobe.
That makes it powerful.
These are custom cards. If you look in the description below, you'll see the link to heroscapers.com to HOSS and find the custom stuff that they've done over the course of a decade, really. These custom units for Star Wars.
Don't they have this game available for online play?
Heroscape?
Yeah.
You can play online,
like a web page. So that would be cool if we could actually use this and put it over there and like the online game thing, so we could actually all play each other one day. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that.
Kobe
through,
Brown,
through
we
that.
are going to speculate actually Renegade connections in a second.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's really cool, and I know it's like you've really just scratched the surface with Star Wars characters too, but I think they've done a great job over the years in setting these guys up for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters here. Mm-hmm. Obviously they haven't gone through all of the Star Wars ethos, but there is a huge selection here to choose from to start your collection and start to play some really fun Heroscape armies. I mean, you could just play out the movies through Heroscape, and do your best and pick your best heroes. And you know what? Let's have a Droideka, and what is it? Battle droids. Get a bunch of huge selection of those characters. Then you can have, let's say, Han Solo fight them, or have Chewbacca, or have
Darth Vader.
Hey, just have Darth Vader do it. Yeah, see how much you can throw.
Vader faces everybody.
Yeah,
that could be interesting.
Yeah, and I see they have some book characters too, like Prince Caesar and Thrawn in there too, like IG-88.
Yeah, there is a Thrawn. Yeah. What is he under? Is he independent? No,
he'd be Empire.
He is Empire.
Grand Admiral. There you are. Grand Admiral Thrawn.
There you go.
Yeah.
125.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go find his card here.
Let's look at it real quick, and then we need to press on with the.
For sure. Oh, there's even vehicles.
Cool.
Oh yeah, you could be an ATST.
They have the one for the shield generator. Sorry.
No problem.
That's cool.
So
very cool. So there's a lot here, guys. There's so much.
The custom community creates a lot of wonderful stuff. When they put their minds to it, which is lovely.
Here, alphabetical order. Wait, no. What am I looking at? These are for glyphs.
And I stand here humbled because here I thought I was a nerd. There's a whole universe where I'm like, there's more of us.
Yes. Yes. Not alone.
Yeah, so we have Grand Admiral Thrawn from the Galactic Empire.
Salamina.
He is Chiss race, unique hero. He's Grand Admiral. He's inspiring and a medium 5, life of 4, medium 5, range 5, attack 3, defense 3 at 125 points. He's got 2 powers. He's I don't know how to pronounce that.
Salamir.
Salamir? Okay.
Yeah,
the Y is silent. Cool. Similar protection. All figures within 4 spaces of Grand Admiral Thrawn with at least 1 Force symbol on their army card, which would be, I guess, these selections down here. subtract 1 die from their attack and defense and cannot use any special powers on their army card. Whoa!
So just flat out
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
lore, there are special creatures that
Yep.
pretty much are anti-force like creatures. Like the force doesn't attack them or sense them, so he kind of wears them like around his neck, and Jedi just can't attack him or sense him.
Wow.
It's right here. It's here in this book.
Now that would
Original
be
Legends
interesting
canon
if
book.
you had an army of like of those type of characters going against like or Sith.
The Salamir.
Yep.
Well, the Salamir are just like they're technically like salamander-looking type creatures, and they're actually very delicate. Besides,
What I'm saying, those
yeah, go ahead.
because they're non-force receptive. So in other words,
Yeah,
you got like
bubble,
Force Sith.
or a non-force
Yeah,
bubble.
you've got like Force Sith
Mhm.
that anything they try to do means nothing.
Yeah, and anyone connected with the Force, when they're in the range of the Salamir, they're basically like the Force is cut off from them, so they have no abilities, they have no connection at all. It really certainly puts Luke in a loop in the Heir to the Empire, that the Thrawn trilogy book.
I'm thinking of the Emperor. I mean, for how powerful he was, and then all of a sudden negated.
The Emperor
Yep.
knew the existence of the Salamir. He did, but that's why he didn't like use much around him. Kind of kept them. They're kind of like a secret, which Thrawn utilized in this book trilogy.
Man,
And then
Yeah, 'cause
his
they're
last
just as destructive
power.
to the Emperor.
yeah,
Right.
anybody force sensitive, they're definitely negating every ability they have.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Absolutely.
go ahead, Joe. Read that last.
And the last power, Brilliant Tactician. While you control Grand Admiral Thrawn after rolling for initiative, and before any other actions are taken, you may choose one opponent. That opponent must reveal the placement of their order markers to you. You may not reveal the placement of the chosen opponent's order markers to any other player. You may then rearrange the order markers on cards you control.
So this
Yep.
this just gives a nod towards the actual book lore of Thrawn, to where Thrawn as a character, and really a very well beloved character, even though he's a villain, because you end up respecting the character and his goals and what he's doing. He's not instilling fear mostly into his underlings in the Empire during the course of these books. He's actually trying to instill respect and inspiration with his troops. A really interesting opponent up against Luke Skywalker and the rest of the Rebel Alliance. Very, very, very interesting. And he's always like 2 or 3 steps ahead, and it's the things that he tends to like overlook or overplay, which is very, very rare, is what ends up getting him in the end. And I'm not going to say anything else because that would I don't want to spoil it, but it's
Quick question.
very interesting.
Quick question. What is an order marker?
Order marker.
An order marker is a gameplay piece for Heroscape that essentially there's going to be 4 of them. There's going to be one with a 1 on it, a 2, and a 3, and then there's an X as in a bluff. So you can essentially rearrange these order markers. The numbers will face you. Your opponent will not see these numbers on the other end of the table. And after rolling for initiative, whoever wins that initiative will take 1 turn. They will place down the order marker, showcasing the 1, and this is essentially their turn order. So you can see that they're going to be activating specific cards based on where the order markers are placed.
You can't see the number.
And yeah, you can't see the number,
There's an
but
opponent.
you know they're being activated, but you don't know at what point, if that's going to be the first turn, second turn, or third turn.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And you
So
can put
his
multiples
power-
on army cards as well.
So his
So-
power is he's gonna know. Okay, you're gonna come first. You're gonna come second. So I need to switch my stuff around.
Exactly. So you can
Exactly.
pre-plan. Now, in most cases in Heroscape, there's a lot of characters that bond. So for example, a hero or a squad will have a bonding power, and then the squad will bond with the hero. You put all your order markers on the one card. So this character having that in the army, if you have that type of bonding power, really doesn't help. But there are plenty of armies that you could probably make with the Heroscape characters, with the Star Wars Heroscape characters, that probably allow you to take true advantage of that power. And I think it's still an extremely powerful power, even though, once again, a lack of D20 rolls are. You just do these things if you're in range. This is insane to me.
I like less variance and just being able to do my powers in my game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm generally interested to play this because I just want to see how that works.
The more you dive
And
in,
it's
the
so
more you're just
thematic
like,
and it's so
interested.
fun.
It's pretty well balanced too. These cards, you can tell the synergy and the balance with them. There's not much overpowering here. Like say the Marvel side, which is its an own set of fun. But here, why is there two of you, Joe? I'm good. It's interesting.
They'll replicate.
Hi, yeah, I don't know.
You telling me I'm dividing?
Apparently.
Oh boy.
Joe rolled a 15. Now there's
two,
another one.
There's two.
Someone hit me and it's a 17.
I don't know. Maybe it's a window you need to shut down or unshare. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting.
But yeah, I guess my last note here. I just want to pull up another card. I'm not going to read through it. But I just wanted to show everybody the sense of personality that these cards have. They definitely put a lot of effort in having all these different lines and shapes. And I just wanted to show. We've been looking at a lot of Empire stuff, so they didn't really have to put any of this detail in, especially with the hologram on the sides here. Putting all this depth into the backgrounds and the sides, and they didn't have to do that, but they did, and I thank them for it because it looks so cool. I mean, look how much space.
Shout out to those guys again. Good job.
It looks pretty sick.
It's a solid card. I mean, even for the figure cards. I mean, there's clearly the from the movie screenshot, but also here's the figure card if you wanted that. They also have the alt cards for rectangular play. If you like playing with the baseball cards, they have that as an option as well. And all the information is here perfectly placed. So
they did this all in like 2008.
Yeah.
It's an old card.
These are absolutely fantastic. What are these alt cards?
Before the dark time.
Oh, even that. They have even different art if you didn't like the other ones. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, they put
super awesome.
Nice time and effort into all this stuff for sure.
But Renegade, take notes. Okay.
Take notes. And to segue, so I don't know if you want to close. I don't know, Joe. You have a window. You have an extra window open, so if you look into that, so I'm not as confused. But to segue into that, let's just while we're wrapping up, speculate. Okay, so Star Wars Heroscape official. Would that ever end up being a thing? Well, I have a couple things to say about that real quick, and then we can go around and talk about it. A couple things. Well, we already have a Heroscape has been known to pick up IPs and make official Heroscape out of different IPs. They've done it with Marvel in the past. They announced that they're going to do it with G.I. Joe miniatures in like a year, 2 years. They're going to develop that. And D&D? They're going to do D&D too? Oh yeah,
D&D would make more sense. G.I. Joe.
Well, D&D was Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, that was before the line went down. It was it was kind of D&D. It wasn't a straight IP because those characters ended up going to Valhalla. Whereas Marvel
that
was
logo is on the box.
Separate entity itself. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very true. And then I think G.I. Joe is going to be a separate entity as well. Not really on Valhalla, but playable with Heroscape.
They are.
So the possibility is there. And there were actually plans before Heroscape got discontinued in 2010 where they were developing, there were plans being made to introduce Star Wars Heroscape, actually. So the possibility is out there. Is it likely anytime soon? My best guess is probably not. Say keep to hope. But yeah, I mean it is a powerful IP to actually like get on. They might like end up doing. I think they're more likely to do like Power Rangers or something else. And they probably want to see what the success of the GI Joe miniatures will be before probably pursue anything further. But I do have a source from Renegade where I just asked them like, yeah, we're going to be discussing this type of thing tonight. Any comment on like Star Wars and Heroscape in the future? And the answer I got was literal crickets. I got an image of a cricket.
It did not surprise me.
Exactly. An image of a cricket.
At the edge of my seat.
And yes, that's... Which
so
I thought
unless there
was
was some big acquisitions,
absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I doubt it happening because currently there are two big Star Wars games I've talked about, which are Legion and Shatterpoint, and they're both licensed and produced by the same game company, Atomic Mass Games, AMG. So they sell those. X-Wing was another one that was around up until a little bit ago, but that one just kind of went under. I would love to see it, though. I'm still holding out hope because I think Star Wars, I think we saw those cards. I think it integrates best with the terrain system and the Heroscape system just because there's so many wacky planets. Just imagine the Star Wars terrain. Like, that's what I'm most excited about is that, like, cool Geonosian spirals and Tatooine dunes. And so, like, cool little terrain pieces would be really fun to have. But I think it would be prohibitively expensive because of licensing cost.
That's that is certainly a thing.
That's why I feel like it'd be way easier if they just made brand new characters for the game and made it Star Wars-esque.
Because they have taken from different
Star
IPs.
Trek,
yeah,
and have like a sci-fi quite unit that is like
outer
there
space.
are like Jedi-like characters. They are they in their lore fly ships like say Star Trek or something, and they're just looking for different worlds, and they happen to find Valhalla. They don't even get teleported; they just find it. You know, because they teleport between different worlds.
Probably something that might end up being more likely that they would do something like that, because that has been done with Heroscape stuff before. Like example, Savaris is an obvious Legolas ripoff, but still fun and usable in
Sounds
the
nothing
game.
like Legolas.
Huh? Savaris?
Your Savaris sounds
Is an anti-Legolas. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Yeah, I think the sentiment is the same here. Okay, and Justin's saying, has Renegade Games worked with Star Wars license before? I know they've released games for G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers, and the aforementioned My Little Pony.
They work mainly with Hasbro licenses, and Hasbro doesn't currently have the license to Star Wars.
I think
that said,
Hasbro
we do have
recently
producers,
let it go, right?
Yeah, recently let it go to Asmodee Games.
Okay,
but several producers and developers have worked on like X-Wing and Armada and other Star Wars properties. So
even Craig Van Ness himself.
There.
Craig Van Ness has worked on Star Wars Epic Duels, as Justin has said in the chat. So
I think it's up to determine how profitable Heroscape is as an independent system before we start getting those kind of bigger names. Like we get G.I. Joe coming, but like there's no like active things for G.I. Joe. It's kind of old stuff or older stuff for G.I. Joe. Like there's not like a G.I. Joe TV show on right now that we're all watching. It's like, oh, I remember G.I. Joe existed type of deal. So I'm hoping for Star Wars. Like I think it's it doesn't even have to be like Valhalla. Like it could be like their own factions and just kind of the system, the engine of Heroscape. But I'm not holding my breath for it either.
For sure. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, especially when there is Haas. So
why
worry about getting it from the official purchasing when you can just go out and probably buy a bunch of these characters for dirt cheap, and then you print out the cards and go play it right now. Like, why wait?
Yeah, definitely check out those
Us
customs,
just needs to
guys.
make more releases. That's all I'm waiting for.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, shout out to those
Now
guys.
you got
and
me
hopefully
actually interested in G.I. Joe here. The original work for G.I. Joe, America's Mobile Fighting Man, 1964. Damn, that's old.
Yeah.
There's your third
Just for the
swear
record,
word
I
for
was
tonight,
born
Shawn.
in 77, and I'm 48 years old. 1964.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting IP that they bring about, but I think it's going to be interesting. We'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
how they do with it.
I think it'd be really cool. I'm not particularly a huge G.I. Joe guy, but I don't know.
pure
Maybe I think
nostalgia.
it's too soon for something like this.
Actually,
but-
it might be another way to do variations of the Airborne Elite and other Army men to
It is.
to have something that's similar, that's more usable for Renegade Heroscape. Probably
It would
that's my
appease
guess.
all the historical
Yep.
people out there that want those
Yes.
type of units.
Yes.
And this is why my only hope is that when they do G.I. Joe, they do it like the cartoon, and there's like tons of people with metal arms
Yeah.
and like weird gadgets and stuff. And
Want some Cobra. Want some Cobra for sure.
Cobra.
Yeah. I have that theme song running in my head right now because I used to watch those cartoons. So,
Mm.
Yep.
I remember them.
Child of the '80s. Let me tell you. All right. Well, how about we wrap for tonight? There's so much more we could probably and debate about Star Wars.
We can continue this conversation
yeah.
next year.
Yeah, but we will if May the Force falls on a Sunday or Wednesday. But here, Justin saying I'm not a big GI Joe guy, but definitely picking up a copy of GI Joe Heroscape. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, it has Joe in the name, so it's.
I mean, yeah.
There you go.
I'm hoping for some cool terrain from it. Some concrete asphalt buildings, stuff like that added to the game.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I think it's going to be better than what we're afraid of. So yeah.
Would anyone think that it would be like a battle box?
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like it's going to
have a
some
few
terrain.
heroes, maybe a unique squad, and then some terrain.
Yeah.
Probably.
I see it doing that. So someone can pick it off the shelf, not have to invest in the system, but be compelled to be like, oh, this is cool. I'm all for it as long as it attracts a new crowd of people and sustains the brand. Like I'm not gonna, if people want G.I. Joe, I'm not gonna like hate on it. Even if like My Little Pony existed as IP for Heroscape and it was profitable, as long as like the core brand of Heroscape exists, if this other stuff kind of supports production of it, I can't be too mad about it.
No, I have an idea for My Little Pony. What if their horns turn into like magical lightsabers? That could be an awesome weapon.
Out of all the thoughts you had tonight, Shawn, I think that's the most plausible one. I'm actually okay with that. To be perfectly honest. All right, how about we wrap, guys? Let's plug what you want to plug. Joe Crazy, go ahead first.
All right. Well, by this time next week,
Boom.
I will be a married man.
Congrats, brother. Congrats.
So I will not be around starting Thursday. I'm going down to the shore and starting my I guess the process of that weekend. I don't know how to even react to any of that, honestly.
The beginning and the end.
The beginning.
Being a formerly married guy, take it minute by minute and don't let go.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, hopefully by the end of that week, I can start working on my stuff. We're up to the last minute. We are planning for this wedding, my fiance Jill and I. So once this has been over and we can get through it and we'll have a great day, I will start planning and writing my scripts again. So I'm looking forward to coming back to YouTube. I've been missing it so much, and this has been my highlight when I can get onto the ToV podcast and ToV lives to talk about Heroscape, because I do not play it as often as I'd like to. But yeah, super excited to come back. Once again, for all those that may or may not know, I have my post-it notes of video ideas. There are tons and tons and tons, and these are not even battle videos, guys. Not even battle videos. And I have like at least 20 or more videos for ScapeCon 4. So and ScapeCon 5's coming up. So it's like,
yeah.
sorry for being a year late, guys.
You have
Jeez.
to skip a year.
The
you know?
year that whole time between ScapeCon 4 and 5 has flown by.
Yep,
I don't know where it went. I don't know where time has gone.
dude.
Oh. But anyway,
you yield your time,
I yield my time.
sir. Okay, Ranieri, aka Lieutenant Dan.
I don't got much to plug, but I do know that I'll probably be in contact with Ryan a bit more in the near future. He sent me a nice big old box of many things.
Master set.
All of
First
these-
master set I sent him, basically.
There we go.
Nice.
Got all these lovely individual characters. So I have no idea who they are. Well, him I know. I've seen a few of these things, but they're just so cool, and I'm excited to give it a try and see where we go from there.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Joey, for always showing up and suggesting, being the one to suggest this type of podcast for Star Wars, because we've never done it before.
It only made sense, especially with you.
For sure. Yeah, I'm a nerd. All right, Josiah, go ahead.
Yeah, I am Josiah, otherwise known as the Roguescaper. Yeah, I'm just happy Star Wars Day is like a big holiday in the home, so I'm itching to get out of here to watch some of the specials that dropped today. Regardless of what generation of Star Wars you like, I think there's something in it for everyone to latch onto and enjoy. So I encourage you to not be so negative about it. Even though it's a lot of work, I feel like I'm a prospector sometime in the mines, going through so much garbage just to find that one gem. But when you find it, it kind of sticks
Kessel,
with you. And, yeah, the Kessel mines.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's fun. I enjoy it. And personally, for me on my YouTube, check me out on the Roguescaper for painting stuff. Just released a video where I pitched some new classic Heroscape units I'd love to kind of see added back into the game. And I got some unboxings and a bunch of stuff always floating around. So be sure to check that out if you like Scape or want to learn how to paint a bit better. And yeah, may the 4th be with you, and happy Revenge of the 5th. I killed my time.
All right, thank you, Josiah. Shawn, go ahead.
Well, I've actually taken a step back from everything, but if you want to check out some of my old content, look me up on YouTube under Sparick, SPARICK 1844, and it's some of it's interesting, some of it's very edgy, and some of it I'd pray to God never reaches the light of day. We have done some crazy things on my streams, from teabagging, as a lot of you might know, is not a nice thing,
No.
to following people on the battlefield. There's other things that take place and other things that are said that I shall remain quiet at this time. I'm not proud of, but it gets nuts. Other than that, yeah, like I said, I've taken a step back, but you can check me out on Twitch if I have anything up. Like earlier today, I was doing some gaming, actually playing some Delta Force. And again, there, I'll be a Sparick. I don't even know my information there. Twitch.tv/Sparick.
All right.
Check me out there, guys.
All right, thank you, Shawn. Yeah, and I'm Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, and I think for this Wednesday, gonna be probably just doing a relaxing stream, like this wasn't. No, I'll probably just continue editing or doing the re-edits of season 1 and 2 and 3 of Tales of Valhalla to get them out in just a combined just one off for each season instead of like multiple episodes. Just putting it all together and taking my time doing that and chatting with you all in the chat as well while doing it, and getting inspired to for Major Midnight to make me custom cards and custom things, which I might show off later there, because there's another one that I had during conversation with all you wonderful people in the chat. And then this coming Sunday, I will not be here. I am taking some time off because there is a particular wedding of somebody that has been already mentioned, which I'm driving all the way to New Jersey to with my family to celebrate. So gonna have some fun. I don't think I've been to New Jersey before, so that's going to be an interesting thing.
Some are awesome places there, and some are not. But
yes, hopefully go to the awesome places. But yeah, so next Sunday, don't be looking for me, but we'll definitely see you guys this Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday after. Which the following Wednesday after, probably going to be talking about whatever scenario that Renegade releases for Heroscape for this month, because I'm sure it'll be out by then. So with that, I do thank you everybody for watching. Let's see here, Premium Scape. Yeah, all you guys in the chat, thank you so much. And usually I say you have a purpose in your life, find it, pursue it, and we'll see you all next time. But I guess I'll just say, I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force, and the Force with me. May the Swords be with us, everyone.
With you.
With you.
What a world.
By the way, I muted myself, and there's no background music, so this is just going to be a cold close for everybody. Night now. Bye-bye.